I can't even remember any part of my life that didn't seem to revolve around sport. I always wish I could go back to like my 16 to like 21-year-old self to say, okay, you've got this many years, you've got to really bust your bum for this amount of time. It all came a little bit easy for me in the beginning, and I really learned at about 22 or so, wow, if I'm gonna make any kind of impact in the sport, I've got to up my game like 2 or 3x in the work commitment. Every athlete, every tennis player, every champion has an insane amount of challenges, it seems like. The hardest one for me to overcome was the self-doubt and how hard it was for me to believe that I actually was good enough, or I actually belonged, or I could actually achieve the pinnacle of our sport.
There's so much of a presence out there now. Davenport steps onto the court, very intimidating.
I used to stress that I wouldn't win a game in big matches. People would laugh at me because I would lose 0-0. And it sounds so absurd, but it seemed so real at the time. I never grew up thinking that I could be the best in the world or one of the most successful players. And it managed to happen. And it managed to happen because I had dreams. I was scared at times to dream that big, but I eventually got to that point. And the biggest influence, truly, in my career was Billie Jean King. And honestly, it's just luck of everything that, for me, that she became the Fed Cup captain in 1995. Right at that time, I was 19 years of age. I mean, that's a critical time in any young woman's life, and especially for me. I'd been in the top 10, now I had just fallen out of the top 10, didn't really know my place. I mean, what 19-year-old does? And all of a sudden, I get introduced to this woman who, you know, she captures the attention of everyone in a room. Her influence was huge. I didn't know a lot also about the history of women's tennis and all the risk and all the fights that were there in the 70s to have the sport that I was able to then enjoy in the 90s. So got to learn a lot as well. You do a lot of listening. I think when you look back on your life, you find there's like a few different roads you end up going down, and some of it, you have these great plans and you think it's gonna go this way, and all of a sudden you're going a different direction. Some of it's luck, some of it's just life happens. I found out shortly after the 2008 US Open, I was pregnant with my second child. And you know, early on, you don't want to say anything, and like I think I was already entered in like playing Australia, and at that time Tennis Channel called and was saying, we saw you're not playing this fall, we're going to do a few tournaments, would you like to come in and you know, just do a broadcast or two? So it was like, okay, sure, I can't really do anything else. And then you kind of see things from the other side, which as a player you don't. You're so wrapped up in yourself and your practice and your results, you don't realize there's like 10 other worlds that go on during a tournament or a Grand Slam and the big tournaments. And I really thought it was amazing. I've loved tennis from when I was a little girl, when I first started playing at 5. I was born in '76, so we're talking early '80s. It wasn't maybe as popular then as it is now, women's sports, and they were still growing. When I played in the '90s, we had one of the best male players say and joke about how he slept through the women's final at one major. We had another top male player say that the women pros were all heavy, lazy pigs. I mean, it was very challenging, and now it's incredible when we look at this era, how supportive the players are of each other. You look at tennis now and the other female sports and you realize how far ahead and how great the women tennis players have it, and you hope that it happens in the other sport. Tennis Channel, where I work, we have women calling men's matches, and we get opinions from everybody on the set of what they think about every player. It's not just the boys talk about the boys and the boys also talk about the girls. We all get to have a say in everything that we do and have an opinion. My 8-year-old got to go to school and pick a person to do a biography on. There was 50 people to choose from, and there was only 8 women on the list, but there wasn't a female athlete. So I'm like, well, you should do Billie Jean King. You need to ask your teacher that if you could do Billie. And immediately she gets this big smile and she's like, oh yeah. And so hopefully we're doing a nice job of kind of teaching them all about equality. We still have a ways to go, but I do think it's getting better.